Hello guys and welcome for the last time to SA Div 1, to at least the official schedule. We still have tiebreakers and whatnot, comes up afterwards. But for now, the official schedule, we have the last two games. And two games which are going to decide two very important placements. The first game, now that we're going to watch, Infinity versus Balrogs, decides what teams get relegated to Div 2 after this season. See, currently, as we go to our standings that my little producer will put up on the screen, Infinity and Balrogs are both, Infinity and Epulze Kings are both tied. But Infinity has the one chance to be able to break this tie. Balrogs as well, this is where the interesting part comes in. They actually could potentially get to 1 point that would also force the tie against Apo and Infinity, which would be wild. So if Balrogs wins, not only do they actually force tiebreakers and potentially save themselves from relegation, but they also screw over Infinity alongside with them. If they don't, Epulze Kings is equally as screwed. So Apu is just hoping for these tiebreakers no matter what. And of course, Apu is hoping for Balrogs to win. Another interesting tidbit about this wonderful match is that despite KingTeka saying 2 times on his stream that he had left officially the team and he was making a new team, he is playing with them today. I can't explain this one. That's up to SA Dota. That's just a KingTeka thing. He even insulted the team on his last stream as well, but apparently that doesn't matter. So we're gonna watch a really spicy match today. I can't wait to watch them play. And the next match, of course, Beast Coast versus TA determines who gets to go to the major. If TA wins, Beast Coast will have to go through tiebreakers again through against Hokori, which is a Beast Coast tradition at this point of the year. To analyze this wonderful first match between Balrogs and Infinity, we have Lelis and Wingblade joining us on the panel for the first time. Hello, Wingblade. Nice to have you here, my friend.
Yeah, very pleased to be here. I've casted quite a bit of SA Division 2 Dota, and that's been very chaotic, and I've been loving every second of it, so I hope Division 1 doesn't disappoint either.
Yeah, that's actually why we brought you here, because you're the expert, right? You're the one that's going to say who's going to be brought to hell of Division 2 Dota and SA, and who has to, fight for their life there, because, as you said, bloodbath, right? What tiebreakers are you looking at in Division 2 Wingblade right now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So 4-way tie, I think, or something for like the relegation spot.
Yeah, we had some really exciting matches today, and I believe it's gonna be Dreamers, No Ping, and Omega playing tiebreakers because they're all 3 and 4. Should be good.
That's wild, and that's for relegation, right? That's the guys who get demoted out of Division 2. So Balrogs and Infinity really want to avoid that. And as we get into this match, Ellis, with their offlaner back, are Balrogs in capable form to beat Infinity here?
I mean, I was going to ask you who's going to play, right? If they were going to play with Tavo or they're going to play... Who else? Is Infinity also playing with Parker or no?
Yes, Infinity is playing with Parker. They have the last stand-in. Okay. As far as I know, Balrogs does not have any more stand-ins due to the sanction they got at the beginning of the season, if you remember, which is why KingTeka is back with them. As to what happened to the team, that's beyond me, dude. I don't know. I can't explain that one. But with KingTeka, what do you think? Can the exceptional circumstances affect the team and their performance?
I mean, I think it's a really hard game for them, honestly. Like, all this stuff has happened to them. They got, like, sanctioned, then this guy leaves, flames them, then he's playing again. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I feel like they're just not going to be able to beat... I think Infinity is also stronger with Parker than they are with Rises. So I would probably favor Infinity. Balrogs also, like, in all the games they played, it just looked really hard for them to actually end the game, right? They just...
Yes.
They actually were ahead in some of the games, but they just don't know actually how to like finish out the game. So I'm probably just gonna favor Infinity here. I think way too much stuff has happened to them. They're probably just emotionally broken. But it would be interesting though to see them win, because then it would be a 3-way tiebreaker, right? That'll be spicy.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think team cohesion is so important. Just yesterday I was casting a game where a disruptor messed up a glimpse, and his own teammate all chatted XD and tipped him. And that's like when it all just went downhill completely. And I mean, if you have a player flaming your team on the stream, it's probably not gonna be super good for teamwork and morale. But we never know, and as you said, a 3-way tiebreaker is always fun. Or is it 3-way? Anyway, just a tiebreaker is always fun.
If they do win, it will be a 3-way tiebreaker. No team. Like, we have 2 of these teams that are going to go to Division 2, right? So it'd be a really rough tiebreaker as well. Apu definitely preying on that, though. Out of these 3 teams, though, if you had to say, Lila, since you've watched them all season, who would you say you'd be you think is more deserving or has more chance of staying in Div 1 out of Infinity, Apu, and Balrogs?
I would say that it's between Apu and Infinity. Infinity beat Apu, right, in this season.
Yes.
Yeah, they beat them. So maybe they deserve it more. But I think Apu's pretty similar to Infinity, honestly. I think in that matchup, there's like this meta thing, this Monkey King hero super meta, and then they ended up just losing it to it twice. And I don't remember, was Rises playing? He was playing, right? He was playing that series. Matchup. Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm not even sure. Will Infinity be able to play tiebreakers with Parker because they already played with him twice, right? Are they going to be able to play with them in the tiebreaker? I don't think so, right? You can only play with them 2 games.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I hadn't thought about that.
So it's kind of like do or die for them. I feel like they really want to win, right? Because then they stay, and then the other 2 teams get relegated.
To be honest, that rule is brutal now that I think about it. You have to essentially bet on not getting tiebreakers. That is, oof.
I mean, that's probably why King Taiga's playing, right? Because they can't play with the stand-in anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah.
No, they're at their limit for stand-ins. I mean, maybe they solve things with King Tika. Who knows? The guy is, again, he's a bit of a bomb in this case, and he if you watch his streams, guys, I mean, it's a roller coaster. He really goes from one emotion to the other in a matter of 10 minutes. There's actually clips. The people, obviously, you know, the Peruvian community likes to clip people, right, Lelis? I mean, it's clipped you before, so
yeah, they have clipped me.
You're aware. Yeah. So there's clips from King Tika saying 2 different things. And they're like, oh, okay, so he's like having like a change of mind. It's from the same stream. Like they're like 10 minutes apart, and they're like complete different speeches, and they publish them in the same channel. And you're like, what am I watching? How is this even possible? That's just King Tika, man. The guy is he's a very talented Dota player, but he's an emotional roller coaster of a human being. Did you get to watch him last season as well? Wingblade, Balrogs. Did you get to watch the Rise Division 1?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed actually. I was like, oh, this team looks pretty solid. And then next season, I didn't get the chance to watch all of their games, but the games that I did see were pretty telling for the most part.
Did you feel like they declined, or like the enemies just got better and they struggled more as a result?
I feel like it's a combination. Because they had some momentum coming in, and then they immediately lost like a few matches 2-0, and that is so bad for team morale. You just climb up from Division 2, you're like, I'm ready to play with the big boys, and the big boys, they just say no.
Yeah. It must be rough, right? When you come into Division 1 and your first match is, you know, Beast Coast, and you have to play Thunder. Like, you have the top teams first. Guess how scheduling is usually done, right? It's usually the bottom versus the top of the group, or the bottom team versus the top team, right? Relatively early.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that if they had played maybe some of the weaker teams to get to test their ground a bit more, they would have had a better season?
I'm actually not sure, because I don't think they were really expecting to win against these teams. So losing against them doesn't really affect morale as much. At least when I used to play, that used to be the case. If you lose against a very good team, it's like, we kind of knew this coming in, right? And you think it can't get much worse now, but then they started losing against some of the weaker teams as well. And that's when it actually became worse. And I think that's when morale was really affected.
That's fair enough. Lelis, do you remember any sort of decline for this team? Do you think it was when King Tika started to leave the team, had to do all these swaps? Or was there any match? Because in the Beast Coast match, actually looked pretty decent, right? Especially against a team like Beast Coast. Was there any match where you thought, oh my god, what happened to Balrogs? Is it before and after for you?
Not really. I didn't think there was like this huge decline in their gameplay. I feel like they've been pretty similar. Like they just don't really close out the games. Of course, like the guy leaving, that for sure takes a toll on the team emotionally. But I didn't really feel like they fell off a cliff or anything. I just feel like they just weren't good enough to beat the Division 1 teams. And there's nothing like wrong with that. They just weren't good enough.
Right. Sure. Fair enough. Do you think they should stick to their style, by the way, for this last match that we saw? The only thing being successful when they close the games, like this really fast, oppressive style that they play with like a semi-hard carry on Berna? Or do you feel like there should be there's something else that they can achieve against Infinity?
I mean, I think for that team, they will play best if King Tekka's on a hero that has a blink stun. So Sand King, Mars, I think they should aim to get like one of those heroes for him. That's his first pick, Sand King. I think it's like his best hero. And I think if Burna gets like the counter carry pick, example, if he's playing Anti-Mage against Morphling or Terrorblade against Anti-Mage, I think that's the ideal situation for them. Like King Tekka gets counter picked in lane, with this hero, they just guarantee his hero, and then Burna gets the counter matchup. Then I think that team will be in a good spot. Because I think Burna is a pretty decent player, and I also think King Tekka, he kind of struggles on heroes that aren't like stunners, I feel like. He just doesn't really shine as much as he does on other heroes.
So do you think they have the potential to like come back next season, or do you think this team should just like completely change all of their players and their entire playstyle?
I mean, I would say they have to get rid of this King Tekka guy, like for sure, because he's just like he just seems like a big problem, right? So, I mean, it depends a lot. Like these sort of things, it depends on how the players they are with each other, if they actually want to play with each other, or they're just on this team to get onto a better team. You know, it depends a lot on these sort of things, because there's nothing wrong with building a team and everybody's like, okay, we're gonna make this team because we don't have better offers, but if someone gets an offer, like they're going, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's something like you kind of talk about. Of course, you're not going to straight up say this in the beginning, but people kind of know it, right? That maybe the team is not good enough or something. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I don't know, it's rough, you know? You go from Division 2 to Division 1, then you like lose every game. It's hard to keep the mental fortitude, I feel like.
I like your point, Lillis, because in those teams, it's a kind of example that you may prioritize like a better player over quote-unquote a better teammate, right? It's more of a short-term goal in many cases. And this could lead you to having a teammate, for example, that gets you sanctioned and leaves it halfway through the season. So that would explain what you're talking about there for Balrogs. Does Infinity feel the same way to you, or does Infinity feel more like a project here for Papita, even if they haven't had success?
I feel like Infinity is more of a project. They're more serious of an org too, right? I don't think Infinity as an org would want this sort of thing, right?
It's true, actually.
Yeah, I think Papita's also the type of player that he believes long term in teams. Like he was on Infamous for so long, and I don't think he would want just to be on this team. So I'm just gonna be on this team for a little bit and then leave or something. I think they actually want to stay with the org and improve. So I would be shocked if it wasn't that case.
In the case of Infinity, in case you guys don't know, because you shouldn't, hopefully, they're one of the most powerful orgs in Peru in terms of League of Legends, if not one of the, probably the biggest one in Peru. Obviously, in Peru, League of Legends is very small, but which is why they cut it to Dota. You know, the only time we get to brag about that. But they are also sponsored by like some massive sponsor. They're called Infinity partially because of Gillette, the razor brand, which I would love one. So if they want to sponsor me, appreciate it. And find those in Malaysia. And this, as Lela says, this org is like quite massive. It's actually one of the biggest orgs in Peru, probably the biggest one alongside Beast Coast. It's just that they don't really want to invest as much in the Dota project until they find some big results. But they're definitely one of the more serious orgs out there. You got to watch Papita in the first season in Div 2. Wing played. Did you fall in love with him as much as the Peruvian community has? Did you appreciate his playstyle?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like Infinity last season was just really consistent. I didn't find like any huge flaws or anything. Like SA Dota, it always has a bit of chaos, right? And that's why we love it.
Right.
But Infinity, I feel like is one of the more consistent teams, at least last season.
Did you? We saw. I mean, even this season, right? They're not as good at their best as some of the better teams, and they do make a couple of mistakes. But I wouldn't say that they're as crazy as some of the weaker teams per se in Div 2. And that's why I want to talk about. Did you see the effect of the Papita captainship when they were playing? Did you feel like he would reel them in very often? Like he was the calming voice in the team, Wingblade?
Yeah, I definitely think so. He looks like the kind of guy who really like allows like young players to really thrive, because a lot of these young players, they have egos, but they also have a lot of mechanical skill. And if you have a captain who can channel that skill and make sure that people get along with each other and also just respect their captain, that helps so incredibly much.
That's a good point. The guy has a huge mentality, strong mentality. He's also literally huge. If you ever see him in real life, oh my god, he would smack you. He would kill you. There's no chance. You don't stand a chance against Papita. So I think that's his real biggest strength.
I think he just has really big hugging muscles, you know? He's a nice guy.
That's the thing as well. He's actually like really buff. So yeah, you're right. It's the funniest part. It's all yoga as well. So you see this like lumbering dude, and it's all because he stretches all day. He does a lot of meditation. He's a very, very cool character in the scene. As we go into the draft, I believe I heard there. Never mind. No, I lied. There's. Okay. Can we put some? Okay, I need to join the new lobby. Can you put something on the screen so I can join? Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Well, let's, as we see the standings once again. Tell me the playstyle that you think was, or the things that you think were missing from Infinity in this season that you feel like they couldn't quite compete with other teams with.
I feel like I'm not entirely sure why this team didn't do that well, because I feel like they should have done better than they did. Maybe they should have been at least like close to Infamous or Hikori. Maybe the carry thing just wasn't for them. Like Rises wasn't meshing that well with them. I feel like Parker's a lot better of a fit for Infinity than Rises. Rises is also from Uruguay, right? So it's just different culture. Maybe it just didn't really work out with them. I think their mid player is pretty good. PP. They also like they changed. Who was their 4? Always Pamplona? Did they change their 4 too?
No, I'm pretty sure that was Infamous that changed their 4. I do think it was Pamplona the whole time, right?
Okay, so it was him the whole time.
So,
They changed their 5, right?
Because you can't change more than one, right? No, the 5 was also Sexy Yogi. Like, because you only can change one person per season.
But it's not Sexy Yogi anymore. It's Prada, right?
Right, sorry, it was Prada the whole time. Yeah, my bad. I'm thinking of the older Infinity. That's my bad. Sexy Yogi was the Balrogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure why they didn't do that well. Maybe things just didn't click with their carry, and then that kind of spilled over because they obviously they kicked them, right? But I think that they're one of the teams that had a lot of potential. I think the PP is a really good player, very mechanically skilled. He's one of like the upcoming mids. But it's hard to say exactly what's happening because I don't really know a lot of the Peruvian teams. Like the only team I really know how it works is Beast Coast, and they're like the outlier team. I feel like they're just different from the other ones. I don't know if that's true, but
sure, I think that's fair. You mean like when you say you know, you mean the internal workings, right, of the team? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, Beast Coast also they're like one of the teams like they don't change players. You know, it's so rare to have a team like that. And when I was with them, they looked a lot like a family. You know, and not every team is like this.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of unique in that sense. I would say that maybe Thunder, now that they spent enough time together, right? Because you have like 3 players that have been together for so long, could reach that level. But you're right about teams like Infinity and stuff. It is interesting. I don't know about the Rises because I also like again his flex is Uruguay on the Wikipedia, right? And I've looked him up, but he did start playing in NA, right? So I'm also not sure if he's like born and raised in Uruguay, or he was born in Uruguay then raised in America, perhaps to Uruguayan parents. It's hard to say because he definitely speaks a higher level of English, and he never played in SA teams before that, right? I first saw him in NA teams, so that could also be the cultural barrier, even a language barrier that you're talking about. Who knows? He might have not practiced his Spanish enough. It could be. So maybe you're onto something there. Do you feel like his playstyle was adequate though, or do you feel like he was lacking a couple points to play in Div 1?
I mean, this question is kind of tricky. You know, I don't want to sound flamey or anything, but I feel like he was lacking a little bit. I feel like it was a little bit random, his performance. I think some games he would play really well, and some games he would just like never show up to a fight or something, or he would show up to a fight and then not put his spells very well, and then kind of just flop. You know, if you're a carry player, you need to be very consistent because what wins you games is being consistently good. And if you're just way too inconsistent, and then some games you're really good, some games you're really bad. The games you're really bad, it's just an auto loss, right? You're the carry player. Like, you can't be this. You can't be really good or be really bad. It just won't work.
Yeah, you just need to consistently be slightly better than the enemy carry. Like you don't need to be like 10k net worth ahead to win games.
I like that topic. So you guys find that if you're like a player with like a high ceiling but also a pretty low floor, you're much better playing other positions than carry. Like if you're mid, for example, is that less of a concern?
I'm not sure about mid, because mid has evolved over the years to be more farm oriented as well. But if you're an offlaner and you can make crazy shit happen, hell yes, go for it.
Right. So you think the MV style of playing is a little bit phased out these days?
I think so, yeah. Like you
Yeah,
don't see
I would say that like
remaining.
I would say that Hector is one of the carries that like his floor is really high.
Right.
If that makes sense, you know, like he
Yeah.
always performs every game. And
That's true, actually.
like I wouldn't see something like that from someone like Rises, right? I feel like it was way more like random.
Mhm.
And I think you kind of want that from your carry. Like you want him to perform every game, at least like a minimum basis. You know what to expect from Hector, right? If you give him PL, he's gonna be top net worth if he gets a farm, and that's what you want from your carry. It sounds dumb, you know, when we say these things, but it's actually what you want, right?
Doesn't sound dumb to me at all. You want him to be consistent because he's your win condition. That makes sense. I think that's good. And also, you're talking about Rises because he's an inexperienced player. You're not saying the guy is destined to fail. It's just that, you know, maybe with more time, he could become that kind of carry. But right now, Parker's just doing that a little bit better, and that's why Infinity's playing with him. DP's picked by them, and here's the blink stun you were talking about for King Tekka. They go for the Mars. I think that's his best performing hero, the Mars and the Sanking, right? Those are the two heroes he's excelled on.
Yeah, I think he just excels on blink initiators. Even when like he went to TI, was it TI 6
7?
or 7? 7.
I think it was TS7.
Yeah, TI 7. Like he was playing his Slaughter was like his best hero. A Bat Rider.
Legion back then
like,
as well.
Yeah, like all the blink initiator stuns were just his best heroes. So I would like him to play only these heroes. No Necro, no like ranged DP hero, just a blink stun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's wild is that Necro used to be his best hero as well. Like it was the hero he was known for, and he brought the competitive. But you're completely right. He used to play blink stun Necro though. That's what's wild.
I remember it was the Necro that bought Greaves when Greaves used to give stats.
Yep.
It was mega broken.
Yes, exactly. And he used to be a big lane bully, right?
Yeah.
Infinity, they go for the Dawnbreaker.
Okay.
Wingblade, I hear you gasping. What's the
We spoke about this in the pregame. People wanting to see Dawnbreaker, and I was like, nah, this hero just doesn't do that much. You have like blink stun heroes that can actually do their job as an offlaner, and you have Dawnbreaker who can do a little bit of everything, kind of tanky, decent amount of damage, some healing, really broken evasion effect eventually, but just kind of unreliable.
10 seconds
And of course, they do have the DP, with one of the most reliable heroes in this patch. So maybe they can make it work. But in general, I haven't been too convinced by the Dawnbreaker.
Do you find this hero is going to be an offlaner for sure? Do you feel like it can be flexed into a 5 or 4 position here?
They can definitely flex it. Could be carry too. Yeah, sure.
Would you be more convinced by that? Because I see your criticism as the Dawnbreaker offlane, you know, pretty on point.
Yeah, I would prefer it as a support, just because I don't think the hero is very good, and at least they don't have as much weight on their shoulders then. But that is kind of subjective.
That's fair. That's fair enough. What is your opinion of Dawnbreaker, Ellis? Do you think it fits the offlaner role right now, or do you think there are better options there?
I think the hero can work as an offlaner. I think people are figuring out some stuff on this hero. I think the shard is really good. It's not one of these conventional blink stun heroes, but I think there's also like this. People buy Basher nowadays and just bash on your first spell. I think that's really good.
Interesting.
But it's not like as reliable as a blink stun hero. It just works differently. Well, I can see it being offline. I feel like it's gonna be a 5 though.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I like this Infinity opener. Like 2 heroes with no stuns. That's the problem with this Dawnbreaker hero. She doesn't have a stun. And you can't pick another hero that doesn't have a stun, right? This Pugna hero's in the meta, Death Prophet, and then you pick Dawnbreaker, one of these heroes, and then it just looks weird. Like, both these heroes have no stun. All the what's it called? All the mobility carries get really good. All the spirits are really good now. You know, it just opens way too many picks for the enemy team.
Yep. You really want to make sure that you have like skirmishing or setup supports with a hero like Dawnbreaker, and DP is very strong but doesn't really fulfill that role.
Do you feel like there's something that they do together though, Wingblade? Is there something that they can both really take advantage of?
I mean, if you can get ahead and get like some aura or support items on these heroes and just hit towers, it's really hard to deal with.
So the overwhelming healing and the tankiness of them is what they're kind of trying to emphasize.
Yeah, you don't need stuns if you're just ahead in the mid game and can hit towers. Because Dota is an objective game. It's not a stunning game. Even though stuns are very, very useful and people don't pick them enough, if you can get far enough ahead, you don't need them.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I say this a lot in cast, and every time I say it, it sounds stupid. That's probably the best, most eloquent way of saying it. Thank you, Wingblade. It's really true. And Papita likes these kind of drafts. He's done this for a while. When he was on Infamous, he used to do this a lot, where you pick like no stun drafts, but they're like fast, lane-based drafts that try to dominate the game early. It is possible, even if it does look bad sometimes.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
It's very sink or swim, isn't it?
For sure. And generally it looks bad, so please don't emulate this.
In your pubs, you mean?
Yeah, or even in your teams, just don't do it. Play safe, pick stuns. You see this Balrogs opening, they have 2 stuns, that's good.
What do you think of the Hoodwink plus Mars combo?
I think it's okay. That's a good amount of mobility, nice stuns, huge amount of magic damage as well. Like, these 2 heroes can just kill people at every single point in the game. It's quite a nice combo. It has a huge amount of range too, because Hoodwink can just sit back.
Lilith, I know we've seen the Hoodwink a lot in the SA region, but we haven't really seen it in other regions. Do you think this is like a hidden pick that SA has something on, or do you feel like it's just a player preference here in this region?
I think the hero's good, honestly. I think she offers this burst on low cooldown, and she offers good laning. And it's like a hero that's, especially in this game, it's pretty good already, because she's a mobility 4, right? She can run into the trees, really hard to kill and catch if you don't really have the specific heroes. I think this hero is has risen in popularity, at least in SA. I think especially because of the laning and the being able to just like kill a hero in the corner of the map like at any time.
Yeah,
Sure.
To me it just feels like an evolution of Jakiro, right? Because you have decent laning, and then you can just sit in the side lanes and push them out, but you're way harder to catch.
Yeah, for sure.
I do love to see the Pugna, because yesterday I was making fun of Pugnas, because they picked a Pugna together with a Templar Assassin in lane, which was hilarious, with the synergy between Melt and Decrab. But this game it actually looks quite good.
5 seconds remaining.
The Pugna, what are the lane partners as a carry for this hero? Because it feels like in general there's kind of an anti-synergy between Pugna and carries as a whole.
I mean, I'm joking about the Decrab thing, because most Pugnas just put a lot of points into the void, and then it doesn't really matter too much, because you're just a high range, high damage int support. So I don't think the combo really matters. Like, you don't want to pick a magic damage carry just for the synergy with Pugna.
Do you want to pick a carry though that can be saved by Pugna later on in the game? Because is that one of his strengths, or can you just play around the ward and that's it?
It's nice, but it's not necessary, I think.
There's the Morphling for Infinity. That is the Parker hero. If you guys know the guy, or if you've met him in his pubs, he is Master Tier despite probably throwing 30% of his games on the hero. So that's really
Well,
impressive.
just 30%, then that leaves you with 70%, so that's pretty decent.
Yes. I mean, 30% of the intentional throws, and I'm assuming he loses some games just naturally, right? So it's
Parker
pretty...
losing games? Nah, come on, man.
Let's see what Balrogs responds here. You were talking about the core-to-core matchup here for Berna. What could you see here, Lellis? You mentioned the anti-mage earlier, actually. Would this be an okay draft for that?
I think it's a pretty good anti-mage pick. They're going to have to ban some heroes. They're going to have to ban like Slardar and maybe Legion. But I think it's a pretty good anti-mage game. Like, they have 1 stun. And it's a good matchup against Morphling. And I know he plays it. They picked it against Lava, right?
Oh.
Okay, PL's also good. It's a really hard matchup for Morphling. PL is also very good against Death Prophet. Like, Illusion heroes are really good against Death Prophet because it makes the ghost damage. Yeah, the Exo just sucks against a lot of units. PL also does decently well against Dawnbreaker, since she doesn't have any disables, and Earth Spirit also just suffers against PL because he buys Manta, and he can just dispel his ult, right? So it's a pretty good PL pick. Let's see, I think they're going to ban Timber for sure, right? Because one of Mariano's Siggies, even though he doesn't have a stun. I don't think Infinity cares about stuns, right? I think last time we casted them, they also didn't have any stuns, right? And they won the game.
Yep. That was actually their best performance as well.
Yeah, so I would be shocked if they don't ban Timber. Oh, it's already banned. Never mind. It's first phase banned. All right.
Right, that makes sense. Yep. What else do you
That's-
ban then as an offlaner for Mariano?
Radiant team ban.
Okay, they
Okay,
banned
then
the
Lush.
Lesh. I mean, they're flexing the DP, right? So
Sure.
they might just ban Ember and Lesh. They can also just ban they can ban the Sand King. I feel like you have to play against something, so they're probably going to play against either Sand King or Ember. I think those are like the better bans.
Mm.
I feel like Sand King might be hard to make it work because it's with an Earth Spirit. So they might just pick a mid hero here and just lane the DP with the Earth Spirit to fix that problem.
Yeah,
10
I like that.
seconds remaining.
We'll see if Balrogs catches onto that plan as well when they ban then the Ember
5
Spirit.
seconds remaining.
The tiny ban is a bit interesting to me from Infinity. It
Radiant
suggests
team
that they
we go.
think tiny would go mid, which is not something I've seen too much of recently.
Oh, in SA Div 1, yeah, it happens all the time, buddy. Welcome
Yeah.
welcome to this region. Yeah,
Nice.
everyone plays tiny mid here. More so than tiny carry, actually, wing play. That's how wild
10
this
seconds
region is.
remaining.
Pretty big
It's more
difference
because you
between
have like
1
4
and
or
2
5
then.
tiny spammers. That's kind of why it is. It's not so much that they think it's good or anything.
Team pick.
Okay, Storm into Pugna. That's confident.
That's their anti-PL here. I mean, it is good against the Hoodwink and Phantom Lancer and stuff like that, right? So it's... And it can't kill Pugna.
It's a good Storm game.
10 seconds
They don't really
remaining.
have that many stuns.
Yeah.
The Storm hero is also
5 seconds
people have been picking it
remaining.
more and more. Like in NA, this hero is first phase picked.
Yep.
Mhm.
The Null Talisman meme reigns
It's true.
supreme. You know, like they haven't nerfed Null Talisman yet, and then at 25 minutes you just sell your items and just have
Now select
5
your
nulls.
heroes.
So yeah, I think this Storm pick was pretty good, and he also has a good matchup. I think this Storm Void Spirit matchup is Storm just gets a free lane. I think when this hero has a free lane, he's a pretty big issue to deal with.
Mm.
Let's see if they. I don't think he's a direct PL counter though. He can't deal with the PL, but if this PL gets out of control, it might be scary for Infinity. He's gonna have a rough lane though. This DP is gonna pressure him a lot. But I'm gonna go with Infinity anyways. I think they're just the better team between these two teams.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would agree. Just in terms of draft, I slightly prefer Balrogs because I think PL could be a huge problem. But yeah, just looking at prior results, I'm gonna vote for Infinity as well.
Okay. My panel has some faith in the draft, but no faith in the team. Will they be correct, or will Balrogs prove that they're better than what they seem? Let's go over to our casters, SeekNStrike and me, to see if we agree.
Hello. I thought you were going to go with some kind of rhyming scheme there, and then if
That
there
was
was going to be
unintentional.
prose or tempo, it almost sounded like you were trying to be a little bit of a poet, and then you realized it, and then you got in your own head, and then it
Yes.
just everything went wrong from there, Abo. It's okay.
You
It's okay.
described
I'm back.
exactly what happened through my head. I realized I rhymed, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta keep rhyming," and I was like, "Oh, fuck,
Yep.
no, I got nothing. I got nothing."
Yeah,
Panic,
you know, I could tell that, and that's a little bit frightening. I think we've known each other a little bit too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you who we're still getting acquainted with, and perhaps who we're starting to get to know the last of it. It might just be Balrogs here, like you guys discussed on the panel. I mean, it's true. It's at least their destiny is in their own hands, right? Unlike Apu Kings, who regrettably for them, they just have to watch and wait. Balrogs get to determine their own destiny here versus Infinity. Another key point: Infinity obviously would like to avoid tiebreakers if they could avoid it, right? Well, mostly because I think the point that I don't know if you brought it up or if Lella's brought it up, but the point on the stand-ins is correct. We've actually seen this play out before in other regions. I want to say we saw it like in East Europe during Season 1 or Season 2 album when we were covering that region. Like the player had to come back, which was a little awkward. I don't remember which team it was, but I think you'll recall that instance. And as far as I'm aware, that stand-in rule hasn't changed. So yeah, it is very much a do or die time for Infinity.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think what that team was that had that. I want to say it was the what's it? Frosty Esley? Remember that with the creep?
It could have been. Yeah,
No,
because
they made a lot
that
of
was one of
changes
the
during the season.
yeah, that was one of the teams that made a lot of changes. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't believe it would have been. It might have been Namiga, one of those like kind of older names that
No,
came back for a bit.
I remember Namiga didn't because Hellscream left towards the end of the season, right? So I remember he left for. Well,
Your memory's a bit
the armor.
sharper on these things than mine, but
yeah, for Namiga, it was a
I'm
bit
glad.
better.
I'm glad
Sorry,
together
not-
we could at least string it together.
Ah, see, that was a good rhyme. See, and now you feel forced to do another one. See, you understand me now.
Nope.
I agree with you. I feel like these rules are rough. I don't know if that's what the intention of the rules is. Obviously, the spirit of the rule is more like if you guys need stand-ins, like here you go. Not so much to make changes. So I can kind of understand why the rule hasn't been changed necessarily, right? But if there is an issue with a player, I think at least one swap should be allowed per season, because. I don't know. Me, I'm just speaking because I'm from SA, but I've seen some of the drama that goes on here, and it's not like the drama you can just get past,
Yeah.
right?
No, I mean I understand that, right? It's a lot of Twitter DM worthy stuff, you know.
Yeah, right. That's what they do in other regions, right? There's even a joke.
Yes.
There's even a joke of like in the SA region of one because of this old issue with a player that I'm not going to mention, but there's a joke of like once the player streams about having sex with your girlfriend, then you can no longer play with him on the team, and that's like the joke that sometimes people make, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, I guess that's.
There we go. You know, I was trying to be a little bit cute about it, but Avo, he was just guns out. He's rearing, ready to cast some Dota 2 today. Get it all out, because I think Gareth is going to be a little bit too British for you, lady. Oh my goodness, Alvaro, I would never.
Well, I hope so. That's not. I'm not offering him the option. I'm saying that's what the joke is, because it's been happened before.
Yeah, I mean, just to put a pin in this conversation as our lanes are starting to break down a bit, right?
Yes, please.
I think the point of the rule is Valve wants to make sure that if you are making one of these lasting roster changes, you should suffer the 20% DPC point penalty, right?
Oh, right. Right,
There's
because
a
you
time
still
and a
get the
place to
penalty.
do that. Yes,
good point,
exactly. And they don't want teams skirting around it. That's the reason the rule exists. That has been an issue previously. That's kind of why they made it more org favored. Obviously, that's come with its own list of benefits
That's a
and
good point.
and detriments, right, to both players and orgs as a whole. It's the system we have. It's the system that Infinity have to deal with, and that's why they want to win this game.
Right, that's a good point, actually. That's a very, very logical point to end this on. Let's move on from the Peruvian drama, and let's move on to the actual drama happening in the lanes here. Because as the panel talked about, Infinity was kind of relying a little bit on winning the lanes due to their lack of stuns. And certainly, even if they have now a bit more catch in the team, they're still looking for that, especially for the bottom lane. You don't pick Dawnbreaker to lose the lane. Like, this is probably the only thing I would say about Dawnbreaker 5 that's like really redeeming about this hero is the super strong laning phase. Once you get level 2, someone's level 3, you're probably one of the strongest 5 laners in the game. Like, even above Ogre and Bane or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
not
hard.
Enchantress level.
Hard to fight. Well, I mean, I get what you're saying on that. There are some lanes that Ench doesn't do well in. I think maybe it's just because Dawnbreaker's still a little bit newer to the competitive scene, but I tend to agree with you. I think there are some lanes where Ench, like for example, versus a Mirana, is going to be a little bit weaker. I struggle to come up with such a hard counter to the Dawnbreaker because she's just very good. Parker in trouble, but he's going to be at least assisted here by the Dawnbreaker. They might even have a kill on the King Thega. No, not quite. Quite tanky having the Soul Ring online already. I wanted to actually look towards this top lane where Pamplona has started off with a full magic wand over on the Earth Spirit before going for basically straight into Urn. I thought for sure it was going to be an Orb of Venom kind of game, but I always forget this Pug Knight hero. He's one of the faster ones in the entire game. 330. This is a difficult lane for Earth Spirit, who otherwise relies on either landing the Boulder Smash or just getting within melee range and bullying other heroes. This lane's a bit difficult, but luckily you have Mariano, who is one of the more consistent, probably offlaners in SA, on a very consistent hero, as Wingblade stated, on the DP. The early levels, so far, so good. So it seems like at least the DP is not going to be hindered for her start.
Also, let's be honest, he's consistently kind of mediocre, to be honest, in the laning stage.
Yeah.
Right? That's what Mariano's known for. He is known for making really big mid-game plays, but he does mess a fair amount in the early game. That's why you give him heroes like Timbersaw or whatever, like he's really good at, because it's the default. You know, like you don't need to do much with Timbersaw to succeed. And I think that with DP, it's not as easy. And if Earth Spirit goes for too many plays and Mariano cannot respond appropriately, they lose the tempo, and all of a sudden you don't have a good mid game that Mariano's known for, and all to sacrifice for like a risk at the lane, right? In addition to the fact that I'm looking at this child Pugna and look at his stats, dude. 700 HP, 4 armor. I mean, obviously he's level 3, right? He starts with a little bit less, but still. Like, he's actually not that easy hero to bully by the Earth Spirit. Why does a ranged hero that's this small have such good stats? I don't know, but I don't think he's a hero you want to go over Venom against. I like the Magic Wand. I don't think Earthspirit can tank too many Nether Blasts before he starts to actually be worried about his own safety.
Yep. Yeah, I think Earthspirit's got a lot more counterplay when the lanes break down a little bit more, because even though he's got good stats now, he's got a pitiful strength gain of 2 per level, and his agi gain's even worse, so he doesn't really get much more than this, unless he buys it. Earthspirit, of course, with a key silence, a boulder smash, is going to do excellently here in the kind of early phase of this game at canceling this Pugna. But the lane is difficult, as you say.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. He does make the Pugna game difficult. I think if the Pugna is like a core, Earthspirit has much more impact as to canceling him, because you just need to stop a life drain, right? As a support, Pugna is more about running around and be like, hoo, can't catch me. But I think once the Storm joins in and he's active, Pugna is going to have a tough game. I think he's going to be more fodder than anything. I know Nether Ward against Storm, yeah, strong, but you murder Pugna, you know, try to break Nether Ward as soon as possible. Not really that difficult.
Nether Ward also pretty good against Morphling too, right? Because Morph, since this patch or last patch, I don't quite exactly remember when they've changed it, but it does cost.
Patches now.
Does cost mana.
Yes.
Dekka,
and the reason why this is King Toka.
Ooh,
okay.
Try to get the spear.
Now. Yeah. Say that again.
Close.
The Nether Ward point that you say, the reason why this became relevant against Morphling is Morphling got changed, right, into the mana thing, and you're like, okay, whatever, no big deal, because Pugna was still base percentage damage based on how much mana you're wasting on the spell, and Attribute Shade is not that big a mana spell. But now that it has the base damage from a couple of patches ago, now it's a big deal, because every time he swaps, every second he swaps, he receives 50 damage, so it's essentially like a Radiance burning him.
Yeah, this used to be worse back when a Nether Ward would get more HP if you casted a spell near it. This would just be like infinite HP for the Nether Ward. Luckily, they've changed that. Pugna's not that broken anymore, but that makes me shudder to think.
That's true, but what is good at though now is that if Morphling goes for any sort of magic damage build, which generally Morphling goes still for a mixed build, even if it's not the E-Blade build, you still go for a little bit of magic damage to the other strike, obviously in waveform. The Nether Ward now covers you for a lot of that, so you actually don't get bursted as easily, especially with that in Glimmer Cape. So there's more utility as a 5. Because as a 5, you're not meant to kill the Morphling. That's what your cores do, right? You're meant to make sure your cores don't die in a single Adaptive Strike waveform. Good job,
Mariano. Yep, gets first blood top lane and might even live here versus Berna. And even looking to turn, Pamplona is going to land the rolling boulder here. Does have mana for a boulder smash as well. Berna in a bit of trouble and actually is going to end up dropping to Pamplona himself, making it a 2-for-0 up top lane.
Oh, wow. That was a bit of an overextension, I would say, at Berna. Trying to go for the kill on Mariano. It's a TP. I feel like this is one of those heroes that can easily bait you into overextending, and Spirit Siphon is a rough spell to play against as a melee carry. Roboceta in the mid lane. Pamplona doesn't have any mana. Now he finally got enough for a rolling boulder, but he got the invisibility room.
And he's going to go immediately steal the bounty as well with whatever mana he has left. Hope he has a clarity. Yes, he does. He has 2 NSH's Mask in the Courier, so he's going to now start to regen up. Quite confident now with the kills that Mariano is going to be able to sustain himself a bit better. And that should definitely be the case, especially with a full null tally and the power charge ready to go on the DP. Really good start. Roboceta.
No, we're fine. We're fine. Yeah, on the Pugna note, by the way, for all the great things that this hero has and how much Winter loves it, one of the issues that it does have is that rotating mid for the Pugna feels kind of useless. Like, you can only Nether Blast them when they're getting close to the rune. So you can't really contest that for the mid laner as much. Hence why they lose the rune war.
Exactly.
Yeah,
good bushwhack. Yeah, they've
man.
Actually... he's struggled to really connect him. Parker's been really, really bloody fast on the Quelling Blade in this lane, hence why all these trees have been taken down. Half of these trees that are missing, yes, he's just cut down while CSing in lane, but the other half he's cut down as the Bushwhack was flying to him. So really, really quite a strong lane for Parker here on the Morph lane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is best hero, right? For a reason. I think there's some heroes that you might have higher level actually on, but Morphling is by far the hero he's known for. I think if you're an SA, you want to make a name for yourself, learning Morphling is a great way to do it. That or be Hector, right? But it's one of the 2 options. I think TA and Morphling are the quintessential SA carries, because you can solo carry your team and pops with them.
Fresh ward placed down here, so Sexy Yogi is going to get out of harm's way. Pamplona, still no boots, of course, rushing this urn first, as Earth Spirits are wont to do. PP's going to end up making this rotation top lane as well. Ooh, I don't know if he's... He is going to be picked up by the Dire Ward as he looks to move in. And that's going to allow Berna to escape. He's going to make a long-range zip. Still has enough mana here for the Vortex. That'll cancel the TP, but 2 more are now incoming. Sexy Yogi has returned. Pamplona in a bit of trouble. This time caught easily by the Bushwhack. Kill goes toward Berna. That is why wards win wars. Balrogs knew exactly what and who was coming.
I would also be a bit doubtful of trying to dive a tier 1, especially in the trees with the hoodwink of the enemy team. I think that's a little bit dangerous. There's no reason why ZXCA can just rotate immediately. The Bushwhack is super easy to land when you're surrounded by trees, right? And the moment that you lose vision in those trees is the moment your team can't help you without reliably losing 1 or 2 heroes. So, well played by Faye to disengage as well.
Yeah, I never think of the vision aspect of Bushwhack.
Oh, it's so good, mate. Oh, I love it so much. In pubs, the moment you take the vision out of someone is the moment that the team decides they're dead. Like, okay. It's so easy. You just change the mentality of idiots in pubs. It's wonderful. It's a very, very good hero for that. And in pro games, even that is an effect because you feel so unsafe when you do that. Why did
bottom.
Oh, okay. PP rotated for that. Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
PP has been very active on the storm in the early. Triple null. No boots either. He's going straight for the Kaya. Crazy.
Mariano, top lane, doing some tower damage. Is going to be saved briefly here by the infused raindrops before he's blocked by the tiny skeleton child. However, that Aetherum is going to whiff out from Robosetta, so Mariano is going to be A-okay for now. He's done a fair bit of damage. He's going to regen quite a bit here off of the Exorcism Spirits. But at least his first siege has been somewhat repelled. So many infused raindrops in this game. It's just so high value versus the Void Spirit, versus a Pugna, versus the DP, the Storm. Void, I think, has already gotten through his. PP is about to finish off his last deck as Pamplona, hiding behind the tree. He's going to make the jump there. He's level 5, has the point of the Geomagnetic Grip, and using that silence will be able to set up the kill here onto Robosetta. Rune even spawns bottom. Adding insult to injury here to Robosetta's Void Spirit. A bit of a rougher start for him. His rotations haven't really panned into anything, unfortunately. In fact, I don't believe he's made any on the Void Spirit.
No, he hasn't really been able to. They've kind of ganked him in the mid lane more than anything. I feel like Ifrit has kind of controlled the tempo of the game completely. I'm also surprised King Tekka has just kind of, farmed bottom, not really done much either in this early game. I mean, I guess he's waiting for his Blink Dagger, fair enough, but this feels more like a mid-Mars play. He hasn't really done much besides die bottom. Hasn't even gotten a single kill on the Morphling with this arena, right? Which is usually what Mars does. So I feel like you waiting for this Blink and just taking forever to get online. Okay, but it's very passive play.
Action's coming top.
It is. We have a Bushwhack ready. Shessid is barely in range. Pamplona, avoids it. King Tekka finally rotates, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty late, but he still finds the arena.
Good vault there, and they get him with a sharpshooter. That's gonna be a dead Pamplona. Not the most important kill, but a kill in which King Tekka desperately needed. Of course, Parker takes advantage of this and just pushes tower solo.
Yeah, that does hurt a little bit. Oh, he's not solo anymore. In comes just the Dawnbreaker. Ooh, just a little bit of a miss.
Yeah, they gotta take the tower now, but it doesn't really matter if they don't kill the PL there. It's more about deterring him and just taking a free tower here, just with the early game.
They're going to set up on him from the trees. Balrogs, they waited around. They wanted more than just the Earth Spirit top, and they'll be rewarded for their patience with the DP. As you say, though, they do lose a tier 2 bottom. Sorry, tier 1 bottom, and Infinity are not going to make a play into the triangle. No one's home, though. Except for a tiny ancient black dragon drake.
I don't know. Baron's going to die here. The smoke. Okay, just revealed. You want to chain their stuns properly with the silence. There we go, Electric Vortex, and I think Baron is dead. Well done. Oh, it's perfectly chained. Claps, claps, claps.
Between the two Spirit Brothers, they make it work.
Yeah. They even block the camp. Oof. That's rough, man. The carry difference is going to be huge here, especially with King Tekka being as poor as he is, man. Like, what does he farm now? If King Tekka dies now again, that Blink Dagger is further delayed. They're going to have no space. That's huge.
Mid lane.
Mid lane,
they do take down at least the Dawnbreaker. I still don't think this is quite a tower, though. Now without your
No.
Mars, you just need that arena ready to fight and at least threaten the Storm or threaten the Morphling away from this fight, and that's just not been the case so far, as you've said. Yeah, I think they're having a bit of a rough time. I want to say give him a little bit of credit, and perhaps normally the Mars, they do look for kills onto morphs early as soon as they hit level 6. Maybe he's just respecting this is Parker's Morphling. Like I just can't get a kill that easily.
No, he can't kill a Morphling. It doesn't matter if it's Parker's. It could be anyone's Morphling, right? It's really difficult to kill him with Mars, which fair enough. Like the only way to kill a Morphling with Mars is if you do the arena trick where you spear and you summon the arena halfway through the spear, right? Because otherwise he just gets away. But the problem I have is that if you know this, then just rotate to a different lane, right? I feel like we do the swap with the carry and to defend bottom. I don't know, you're just not doing anything because Mars doesn't actually push this lane either. Just farming, which is okay if you plan to play this in the mid game. He has a Miracle Spear. It's okay if you plan to play this in the mid game, but I don't feel like they have that kind of advantage either.
Oh, Parker used Waveform.
Oh, what a bushwhack. Doesn't matter. There's the help from the Dawnbreaker. Silence the Hoodwink. He has to release at the very end of it. That's not what they were looking for. Now trying to life drain this Earth Spirit. Morphling and King Tekka. They're going for ZXC as well. Parker doesn't have enough mana for that bushwhack. Parker went too far. He gets hit by the enemy bushwhack. And Parker commits suicide as a result. Completely unnecessary play after that Mars kill as well. That's so greedy. The moment you turn to Hoodwink and you don't have bushwhack, man, just let him go. Just let him go.
Yep, he's gonna end up regretting that one. Sexy Yogi even makes it out, says make that Mariano was hoping to try and nuke him down. Of course, now you can cast Decrepify when you're channeling, which includes TP, so Sexy Yogi was not dying to a DP. And that is going to be then Parker eventually dying. As Yule Scepter's finished for Roboseta, he's gonna go ahead and Yule's up Dawnbreaker. She's pulled back once again by ZXCA's Bushwhack, and that is going to be a second kill here for Balrogs. Well, at least there's 6 total, but their second pretty big kill recently. Berna?
Bottom though, it's once again Berna who's going to die. PP has been controlling the tempo in this early game, playing really well. And this has made it difficult for Balrogs to do honestly anything with that Mars. It feels like Mars is not a hero right now. Looks like
Yogi mid lane. Nice. VP is just all over the map. I really like how he's playing this early game,
he's awesome.
Especially with the Earth Spirit. I think I've seen him play with Earth Spirit for 3 kills so far. He's 3-0-3, yes. So I mean, that's just amazing. He's got the triple null tally up. He's going for Kaya as well as Sanj, which normally I do say is a bit of a slow build for a Storm, even when you do need it for the illusion clear. But given the start that he's had, it's hardly, I could hardly blame him. He's got so much money right now.
Yeah, and because you also, the BKB is not like a be-all end-all this game, right? Because there's not many stuns. You're much more free to go for this build. This build is more of like, oops, I made a mistake. Like someone caught me with a bushwhack, whatever, and now I have an option to survive this. Whereas the BKB is definitely of, I am God for 9 seconds and then I'm going to retreat. So I think this is actually a better build for this kind of game.
I actually really like that point. Plus, you do have a little bit of save. The Solar Guardian is decent, especially when you do get the Acceptor online. Storm?
Yeah, like now. There we go. I think it just barely healed the Storm. I don't know about that one. PP died kind of quickly. King Tekka, he finally got his Blink Dagger and killed off as soon as he got it there. Can they still continue to fight this? They don't have their carry here, but Roboseta is already being forced to retreat.
Ooh.
There's the help from the Rolling Boulder to give vision, as Mariano plus Shassid end up finishing up this Void Spirit. ZXCA is the next target. That's a good bushwhack. And ZXCA, you try to find him in the trees. There's the Pugna giving him some space. Sexy Yogi will make sure that the Hoodwink can get away. Well done. He knows he's strong. He knows he can beat Prada right now, so there's no take the courier and go, I guess.
Yep. Amplona didn't have the stones to kill the Hoodwink there, unfortunately. He ran out of remnants. I was wondering why he didn't kick one over at the squirrel to move it down. Yeah, he was out.
Metaphorical stones there.
No. I'm talking literal stones. He didn't have the stone remnant. I will get your mind out of the gutter, okay? You're going to cast with a British person pretty soon. I'm going to stand for that.
That's where their mind is. Have you ever been to a British nightclub? That is entirely where their mind is.
You know, honestly, I have to defer to you on this. That's a good point. I haven't.
I have never been picked up as many times as both men and women in the same night, okay? And I'm not even that attractive. It's just
British women are very strong.
Yes, yeah. Their men are kind of weak, though. They struggled with me. That was what's interesting, right? There's kind of an inverse population there.
I see.
BKB is close for Mariano as well. It's going to be the biggest point of inflection for Infinity, I think, in the early game. And then Parker will finally come online, right? It's just, Mariano should carry them until then.
Yeah, I mean, Parker's really chugging along quite nicely on his own progression, right? A full Manta style at 17, 18 minutes, it ain't nothing to write home about. But this game, you know, like you said, not the greatest BKB game at all, so it's basically going to kind of soft enable him to join these fights. He probably doesn't want to, you know, stand up and hit tier 2s, hit high ground with this item only, right? But it will at least allow him to show up in fights reasonably.
Yep. Okay, are they going to go for Roche? Yeah. Extra level 2, it's a pretty good use of the extra level 2. Like, again, you just got BKB, so you might just want to force a fight here, but that's much more of like a question mark objective, right? Like Wingblade said, you need stuns to get fights and stuff, but objectives don't move, and that's where the real strength of this lineup comes from.
They don't. Sometimes, though, you still need to smoke to them. A lot of European teams like doing that. They smoke gank tier 2s, smoke gank Roche.
That's true, actually. And SA it's less valued because SA values, like, it's a faster region. I feel like if you use smokes like Europeans do in SA, the enemy team will punish you pretty hard with their rotations, right? That's actually why European teams and Chinese teams struggle against SA teams internationally, because they're a bit too fast sometimes. Okay, the Storm just kind of zipping right through. Doesn't really care about that Nether Ward. Goes Sexy Yogi immediately. That's King Tekka dead as well. Yeah, Nether Ward did absolutely nothing. It did absolutely nothing for the Storm.
What level is it?
He's not
That's
the level,
level 2.
He's Ball Lightning, right? He's invulnerable while he does that.
Yeah.
So. They go for the Void Spit. Of course, he does have the Simulate. PP doesn't get PP. He went a bit too far. The PP, the circles only go so far, mate. There's no way he could have gone that far, but okay. They take a tower at least. Mid tier 2, as the first tier 2 you take, is huge though. This kind of shows an absolute dominance. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon.
And this shows the absolute hubris of a caster. It just doesn't it, right? Here, Balrogs are ready to defend. Yeah, normally you don't see the mid tier 2 go too early unless it's like some insane push lineup that we don't really see too much anymore these days. Or
it's just really easy to defend the tier 2.
Exactly. Or if you win an opportunistic fight. Infinity, they don't misread it here. They get away into the jungle where they will still be caught, though. Solar Guardian saves Papelona. He is eventually going to fall, though. Seogi gets the kill. That time with another ward. He's going to be jumped immediately by PP. Goes into the Decrep form where Mariano sweeps him up with one last Grip Swarm. 2 dead here, as they did also lose King Tekka. Roboseta's still looking to fight. Silence is great onto 2. Parker's fighting illusions. Got a Maelstrom.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it is an interesting build actually. It's one of those situations where I think the PL realizes he doesn't have enough damage to kill the Morphling once, let alone twice. So he's just gonna like annoy him and take away his mana. I like this build on the Morphling. We've seen this before as a solution to PL. Before, it used to be considered that Morphling was actually good against PL because you turn into him and you take his copies, right? And you kind of create the same Discord he creates. But nowadays, with the change to attribute shift, is no longer the case. But this build was still popular back then. I like it. It goes really well with the waveform attacks targets. It's not stats, but now that Morphlings are not forced to go E-Blade, there's more diversity in the builds, and you can actually deviate into it without feeling bad. So I think it's pretty clever.
Oh, they might get Oboseta here? Yeah, they do. Easy. Yeah, and I mean, just look how much damage PP has, right? Like, I feel like Morphling can kind of go for this build, like you're saying, because, you know, he doesn't really need to do all the damage. PP's doing an incredible amount already.
Yeah. I feel, I mean, we talked a lot about King Tekka and his lack of rotations, but I feel like the real issue for Balrogs this game has been Balrotheta. There's been absolutely no rotations on this guy at all. He's just been kind of fodder for the enemy team. And I feel like, whereas Mars, I think it's the better play because of the bad lane, or Void Spirit was the necessary play. Right? Yeah. So there's more blame there, I would say, than for King Tekka.
Is this Rolling Boulder going to hit Sexy Yogi? Or sorry, ZXCA? I think it is. I think he's going to try and double back.
It is.
In
it's
any
hard.
case.
Have you seen the Coddle with the ultimate and how the Luminate never faces the right direction?
Yes, I have. I played with that today. It was very confusing. Because I kept wanting to try and get healed, and I would just look like an idiot when the horses went the other way.
Yes, in SCA, they've reported me multiple times because they think I keep missing them, and then one person reported me for hacks because he thought I was like changing the direction after the blast was sent, something like that. You know,
that's how the horses work in real life. You know, you hear them kind of rumbling and stumbling from one direction. They're like jet planes. You know, when you hear them in the sky and they're like 3 seconds, it sounds like they're 3 seconds behind where they are. Horses are the same, especially from Coddle because they move at the speed of light.
Right. That does make sense, right? Because light is the fastest. Light has a certain speed, right? And then the speed of sound is a bit lower, and then horses are much lower than both, right? So obviously you see the horse last.
Do you not think
Yeah, yeah.
that light is the fastest thing? Why did you put a qualification on that? Light is the fastest thing, my friend.
I mean, no, it's not.
Yes, it is. What's faster?
No, it's not. You can, of course. Well, whatever surpasses the speed of light. What might it change?
Give me an example.
The first time traveler we get to find, he's gonna be faster than the speed of light. He's already among us. He's probably listening to this cast, right? If Dota is still available in 2200.
I think you think too
Maybe it's
highly
Ice
of
Rock.
us if you're saying the first time traveler is going to be listening to this cast, my friend.
What do you think? The first time traveler is not gonna be a fan of SA Dota? It's the only region that exists in 2200. Every other region has been conquered. They all speak Spanish now as well.
Yep. Spain came back. Los Ultra.
Oh, no. Spain did jack shit. Spain ceased to exist. Peru conquered Spain. And after that... I mean, look, Peru already conquered US East, right? So it's just a matter of time till the rest of the world falls.
It is only a matter of time. You know, they made that, what was it, the no ping VPN tunnel. So now from Brazil and Peru, you can get really good ping to Europe. I mean, guys, come on. It isn't just for Dota.
The biggest thing about the tunnel, right, is that you can put llamas through it, right? And that was essentially what conquered the world.
Yeah, I mean,
llamas are just better
these
horses.
silly Europeans, they're like, they can't invade us. You need trains and wheels to invade us. And that's where the Peruvians got them. You see, true story, the Incans did not use the wheel. They used the llamas. Why would we want wheels? Wheels can't go up mountains, but llamas can.
And genuinely, you should talk to llama and alpaca farmers. A lot of people in Europe are starting to change to alpacas as opposed to sheep because it's easier to shed them. They're much more eco-friendly to use alpacas, and the wool they produce is higher quality as well. So they're smarter. I'm not joking about this llama alpaca thing. We should just swap to llamas and alpacas. I mean, they survive the mountains of Peru, where these weak-ass sheep, we have to like tend to them all day, like give them food and shit. Oh my god, alpacas and llamas are true OGs.
You know, what's curious is that actually alpacas, I believe, I don't recall if it's alpacas or llamas. I know they're very closely related. But in either case, one of those two animals, they're actually, what they like to do is they give them to protect, like farmers will take them in Europe and whatever, to protect a herd of sheep because they're incredibly intelligent, but they're also quite territorial and they have quite a kick and quite an attitude. Curiously enough, though, they found that if you pair the llamas up, like if you give the llama another friend, they don't care about the flock of sheep anymore. They leave the flock alone and they don't defend it.
That's the issue with alpacas as well. Like alpacas are similar to llamas in that sense, except that they're not territorial, right? So what they do instead is they think anyone that comes into their territory, as long as they've seen them before, is their best friend. So when someone comes in, they just try to cuddle up to it, which is not a good survival skill.
Yeah.
But it's great for being a farmer, right? Or whatever they're called, herdsman, I suppose.
Yeah.
Livestock farmer.
Yeah, livestock, whatever. Yeah, that's like huskies, right? Where like huskies are these big, loud dogs. But literally, there's like home videos of like thieves breaking in and the huskies like bringing them their toys and all this stuff as they carry out the TV and whatnot. True. It's some animals they're built different. They're built different.
I would actually love to have an alpaca farm. If I wasn't a caster, this would be what I'd try to do. Honestly,
although I don't believe you're built for the life of a rancher, my friend. I don't think it would agree with you.
I just want to point out that my skill set includes coordination. That's probably my biggest skill.
Oh yeah.
Yes, self-sufficient survival skills as well. That's something I would
manual
say.
labor. You love it.
That's what I'm good at. That's why I became a caster.
That's why your soft gelatinous hands are full of callus, right? So, I mean, you're quite the opposite of a gentleman.
Are incredibly calloused. Okay, it's just that I sweat the calluses off. It's a well-known technique called shedding, right? Alpacas do the same thing, so they and we see eye to eye. Dude, this fucking ad.
Yeah, the admins?
I didn't mean to say that.
I like how the admin says, "Good evening."
Papita has to... Man, I miss Pau Pau. Pau Pau made this big post. I don't know if you saw. He's now going to work in other esports to like raise other esports in Peru, and I'm thinking, Pau Pau, why? We still need to raise Dota. Please don't go raise Valorant and other shit. We don't need that right now. I miss Pau Pau so much.
Sometimes it's like you can still hear his voice.
I can't. He sends me WhatsApp messages, which I still haven't answered. So those are the voices you're hearing sometimes.
I see. Yeah, he actually WhatsApped me to tell you to respond. So you should probably get on that. I think. Check that out.
What?
Yeah.
What you say? Sorry.
He's WhatsApped me to tell you to reply to his WhatsApp even.
That makes
know.
sense.
You're just
He's
not
learned
very
English
good at
just for
these
that.
messaging platforms. You know that? Maybe that is why you're best to be an alpaca farmer. You don't have to reply to their messages. There's no emails you can
Exactly.
mess up there.
That's what my thing is, right? Because I'm like really unskilled at many things. So really, my life choices are what I'm least like. I'm what I'm most skilled at out of all of the things I'm terrible at. So I think alpaca farmer is up there. You know, it's either alpaca farmer or clown.
Wait,
Those
wait,
are the
wait,
two
wait.
options.
Are you seeing this heart that Parker just drew with a J and a D in there?
Yeah. What is that for?
Has the meme transcended? Where is that his novia? Do you believe? Yes, Jimena. I believe it is.
Oh, he may not. Oh my god.
I believe it is.
Oh, the cringe. Okay, he's 19. So
I think
that's my
is that the
justification.
Zoomer equivalent of carving your initials? Oh, the rock hit, by the way.
Right? Yeah. Carving your initials in a replay. Yeah. I guess that's the same. Like, look, if 20 years from now, if I load up the old Dota TV client, I can still see my ex's initials here. I'm kind of hoping that JD is Jack Daniels. I would rather he be an alcoholic than cringe alert. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh goodness gracious me!
It's
Oh,
healthy
goodness.
for him, really. Love is not healthy, boys. Don't fall in love with anyone.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There's so much genuine emotion in that Avo. Jesus.
Tower has
Oh, break your
okay.
heart.
Well, Kingteka has his Blink Dagger online. Now he's trying to push these side lanes, but he's going to be scouted by Pamplona, who is going to whiff this time on the rolling boulder. Oh, but Kingteka is going to whiff even harder there on the spear. PP is going to close the gap and pick up now his 7th kill on the Storm Spirits. That's almost his full BKB. What stops him once he has BKB online? He's already so farmed, especially for a Storm.
I don't know. I feel like right now we're in a position where it's like PL against the world, but I feel like because the Morphling itemized against the PL properly, which is well done by Parker, right? And he's still winning in terms of net worth. The PL doesn't seem like it's a free game anymore. I hear it every. Oh no. No, I don't feel like the PL is such a big threat because of how they itemized against them. And Storm can go for Electric Rave, and there's also the moment where Storm reaches level 25, right? Which I then think becomes good enough to deal with PL well.
So if obviously Infinity playing a very clean game right now. They're up 10 kills. Most importantly, they're up 10k. They have complete map control. They have Aegis. So if I am going to pick at something here for Infinity, I'm not sure why they gave Parker Aegis instead of hold that thought, instead of PP, who is making these really crazy jumps. What a roll from Pamplona. That'll secure the kill on Sexy Yogi.
And King Tekka too. Yeah, there comes no need for the Soul Guardian. That was easy. I can tell you the reason, so you can go high ground.
But Aegis has just been reclaimed, and they didn't even poke a tier 3 tower. They haven't even gotten that last tier 2.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, like they messed up, but I think that was the logic for sure.
Yeah,
There's no
I
other
imagine that was their logic as well, and that was the point I was going to make. I'd like to see Infinity make a push with this Aegis then, if that's what they intend. I mean, they certainly have amassed the early game lead to justify it on first Aegis. Normally, you wouldn't even consider it on first Aegis, right? That's normally a big debate, and you end up dying, and then you completely throw your momentum. Not the case this game. They just didn't do it. They made a lot of space around the map, don't get me wrong, but, I just think that PP could have probably made some much more aggressive plays with Aegis than, say, Parker was prepared to make at this point. Just, again,
No, for sure.
picking at small things here, right?
No, you're right. I mean, I think Infinity has just kind of shown this whole matchup that they're certainly the better team.
Yes.
It's hard to say that's because Balrogs have like the caliber of players is different, or because Balrogs doesn't seem like a team. Because honestly, Balrogs feels like there's 5 players playing a pod right now. No offense.
Dire's bottom
I'm not saying this as like an insult to the players themselves or anything. I'm just saying that there hasn't really been coordinated plays. And most
Yeah.
importantly, what I refer to with that is that if the game state is going awry, right? When all the best laid plans of mice and men, right, often go awry, and Balrog's plan clearly is doing that. Someone has to adapt to that. You can't all build for yourselves like you're gonna solo carry the game. And Roboteta and King Tekka have kind of been doing that. Berna is the carry, so I guess he's the only justified to do that. Who's the one that's taking the L for the team and going, I'm gonna build something faster, so to do something, right? So we can have plays. It just feels like they just lost. Like, oh, my mid crumbled.
That was what was a bit curious to me, is that Robosetta did go for that first item, Mule Scepter, rather than more costly Ags, right? Now he has Ags online, by the way. Heart is nearly online for Berna, and King Tekka's still pretty far off of his BKB, but he's not only 1,400 gold away. Like, these items now are starting to come online. Balrogs could potentially find themselves an opening here. I think a formal fight for Roche, I'm not sure if it quite suits them. They do have the Mars here, but they're just down so much here at this stage of the game. Storm already has the BKB. I don't know if Balrogs have any choice, even with these items, to just look than anything for other than pickoffs, is what I mean to say, right? So Infinity, they just need to recognize this and play clean for the until the next Roche timer is up, and just be together and ready to fight. This is made easier by this draft, of course, because Dawnbreaker is very much like the Spectre of supports, where you can just instantly join a fight and give utility to your team. So Balrogs are going to really struggle to find a pickoff, even though that they have the items now to potentially make it work.
Yep.
This is going to be their last window back into this game here. This next Roche timer. Let's see what it'll be. We'll find out in 5 seconds. Oh, and they might even lose a hero. Oh, it's just Hoodwink. Okay.
Yeah. I think if the game state continues this way until the Storm reaches 25, like if we're still like 11, 10k ahead and the Storm reaches 25, I think the game is over for Balrogs. There's no chance for them to come back.
Yes, I'd agree with you there, especially because I think in 6 levels worth of experience, in that amount of farming, Storm also has the Ag Scepter, AoE Electric Vortex, which completely crushes a PL. I mean, it crushes almost anyone, but it's especially punishing to a PL, right? You get that 25 talent alongside with it, with this specific item build. It's incredible how much damage that you can pump out. Especially because you have BKB, so you're going to get the combo out because there's absolutely jack diddly squat on Balrogs that is going to cancel your BKB. So, yeah, it is pretty scary here. Heart or not, they are going to get through Berna, who does have his Shard now and the Heart, like I've been saying, but he's going to need a bit more. He's going to need the power of his team to come through. And again, not to point at the fingers, but yeah, it just felt like this game's been a bit of a non-starter, as they will find King Tekka down bottom. Plenty of damage once again between Pamplona and PP.
Yeah, but I mean, these are easy kills here. I think King Tekka has to kind of open them up together with Hoodwink, so they're the best guys to cut lanes. I would say usually Void Spray would be the person to do that, right?
Roche is
Void Spray
already
is just easy to catch.
Already down. Parker taking Aegis. This one I agree with. And he's going to take the Shard.
Who takes the Shard?
Nope, Mariano.
Yeah. It's a much better Shard. There's no point in giving it to Parker here.
Oh, and they get Sexy Yogi.
Sexy Yogi?
Yeah, he's dead. 4-second cooldown on Rolling Boulder is pretty punishing towards TPs. You have to basically time it perfectly after the Earth Spirit misses a roll. So yeah, it's really hard to get away from him. Yeah, even with Mjolnir now, Parker has got a little bit of safety. Not that much, though, as King Tekka is going to show him. Immediately removing the first life. Can they set up for anything on the second? That was a 3v5, where they immediately take the life of Parker. Nicely done, Balrogs.
Yeah.
That's what we needed to see.
That's true. That's a pretty big... I mean, again, they need to turn this into something. That was a mistake by Parker, though.
Yeah,
he has
of
to be
course.
careful with that. Don't go to the high ground with... Look, I mean, okay, I get it. Put as much points into Edge as possible, but don't go with 1k to the high ground. You know, you do really need the 261 damage. Could not be 200 damage. I think you're fine with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd agree with that. Either way, an opening for Balrogs, as they will, you know, still down 18k, which is 3 major items. So basically all the core is down 1 major item at this stage. They at least nullify the Aegis advantage that Infinity had. Now they're smoked up. They will find themselves in the enemy triangle. Pamplona, though, breaking smokes and is going to roll away back to the mid lane towards the rest of his team, where this tier 1 mid lane is still standing. That'll stop Balrogs in their tracks. Of course, their lack of early game push means that this tier 1 tower being up makes these big old map sweeps just about impossible to make.
Yeah, exactly. There's tier 1. The fact that this tier 1 mid is still alive for me
Parker!
is crazy.
Oh, he got up
this time he had to be shift. Yeah. He knows. And now King Tekka has invaded. The Karma fight will save him for a couple more seconds. In fact, it might save him altogether. He's dead. But here comes the Void Spray. Pamplona could possibly die. Rolling Boulder to get away. The Illusion are still chasing after him as Berna has been left behind here. Can they turn this into a kill, though? No. It seems like Infinity is going to bide their time. And don't want to fight without the Morphling here. BKB is used by the Storm though. Okay, I mean, maybe he thought against it, and he decided to just go for the Pugna. They got a tier 1 mid actually, pretty big deal. 30 minutes in though.
Yep,
But
30
still,
minutes
pretty
in.
big deal.
It's a 9-second BKB there for a kill on a sexy Yogi. I mean, you know, I respect the play. I think 6-second BKB is still very strong this game for PP. But just slightly surprised. I guess something in him snapped and he decided he's going in on that. He's going to have Electric Rave soon enough. He's already completed the Ag Scepter, so he does have this AoE Electric Vortex.
Huge, yeah. Now,
very
the
strong.
PL slowly getting dealt with, right? All you need here is for Parker not to be the one that's leading the charge, or once again for him to have like a better turning around. I think that was quick enough with the attribute shift though, so it's fine. But Parker, yeah, there we go. If he keeps himself at like 16k HP or something, I think that's okay. It's harder to burst though.
Butterfly is pretty major for him as well. They will lack the magic damage to get through him unless he just sits at max agi. This is a good start to the fight though for Balrogs. They've already dispatched of Pamplona, but there's going to be the budget black hole from PP. Without that 25 talent though, he does struggle to get through these tanky heroes. Mariano trapped inside the arena, but he's going to bury King Tekka under it as he drops instantly. Parker doing the bulk of the damage there. Shaseed trying to jump around in this fight as well. He's going to be able to make it out. PP as well pops his BKB for this. As Parker, silenced on mostly Agi, is going to be able to live through the life drain of the Pugna. Roboseta getting jumped back in now by the buyback, from Pamplona. That corpse being kicked around as PP makes the second jump onto Sexy Yogi. That is still going to be 3 dead for Balrogs. More promising fight. These are like impressive fights coming out to me, considering what we've seen from Balrog so far in the game. Like, I would have loved to see this kind of energy, this kind of coordination, you know, before you were down 18k.
Yeah. I'll be honest though, I don't want to take away from Balrogs here, but I think it is more of Infinity kind of messing up. These fights are a little bit.
Okay.
Like, why?
What are you seeing? What's going on?
Well, I mean, so they fight it, right? And it's either one of their cores is always missing from the fight. If it's Storm, that's fair enough because he can just zip in, right? But in the past few fights, it's been either Mariano or Parker, right? But in this case, Parker was like really far behind. Before DP was really far behind. Like they just seem to be forcing fights because they're stronger, but they're not really taking the fights as they should be. And this is something that I really would like Infinity to work on in these kind of matches, because it looks like, just judging from this gameplay, that they could easily stay in Div 1. Like, they're the stronger team than Balrogs, and if they win this series, they straight up in Div 1, right? So that's good. But I think it's a good opportunity for them to learn that kind of consistency is sometimes missing. And one of the biggest issues with Infinity is they're always ready to fight. And it's just not good enough anymore. You kind of have to take fights on your own terms all the time. Look at how the top teams are playing right now, you know, in all regions, including Thunder Awaken. And I feel like if there's a match to practice that, it could be this one here. So I don't like what they're doing too much. I think they just need to take a chill pill, breathe in, breathe out, and go for the fights they know they can win, as opposed to trying to take these really haphazard engagements.
All right, we'll see if they can do that. King Tekka is going to be bolstered now. He did finally finish his second item. BKB done for him. Parker's physical damage at this stage is overwhelming, though, right? So that is still a very significant issue for him. He did die basically to right-click damage in that last fight. Parker's now level 25 as well. So he's got 2 waveform charges. EP still level and a half away from his 25 talents, but now has the Electric Rave, which he lacked in the last fight, and an Arcane Rune, which is going to pop here. I believe it timed out. Infinity might look for another fight here with this timing. Roche window isn't going to be at least for another 2 minutes. Parker's very strong now. Butterfly Satanic.
Yeah. Now he becomes officially impossible to kill for Balrogs.
There goes PP.
Okay. It's crazy, but this time he has a Solar Guardian to back him up, so it's not actually that bad of a play. And with a Starbreaker as well. Well done, actually. These stuns are really well chained, even though they're hard to chain. They killed the Mars as well. Now going for Berna. Here comes the help from the Void Spirit, but no stun to dissimulate, which means Berna is just going to fall here. It's a matter of time, though. They're chasing him down. And thanks to the mobility on the Storm, that's going to succeed. As now Roboseta, he's been silenced. He also have to dispel it. They have any other stuns? They do not, but they do have a little bit more mana on PP if they want to go for it. And then fantastically, Parker who does it. Yep.
Yeah, Parker's got it.
So
no worries, guys. I got him.
I think that's a much better utilization of the kind of crazy plays I like to go for, right? That was a planned fight. There was an actual clear idea as to how they win that fight. That's smart, right? It's not haphazard. It's not random. Well done, people.
Yeah. Really tough fight for Balrogs there to swallow, especially for King Tekka. He must be incredibly frustrated. He just has BKB. All of a sudden, this Storm just zips in from out of vision, kind of randomly. They didn't have vision up there. It was kind of just on a feeling that Infinity make that jump, or or game sense, right? I think is a better way of putting it, to give them the proper credits, and they make the jump, and Storm finds 2 cores just standing right next to each other, so that went just about perfectly for him. Parker, once again, pinned. Get off the strength gain, and he's a very, very tanky Morphling. He's going to chew through King Tekka. In trouble now is going to be Robosetta. He has a Yule Scepter, still has a couple more spells on the way back down. Finds himself stunned, but saved actually by the Decrepify. Not like it'll save his throne, though, as Parker is going to be focusing down onto him. Pops the BKB, as does PP, and it's Infinity that take game number 1.
Really well played by Infinity. I mean, again, 1 or 2 mess-ups in the fights, which are understandable, but because you're winning by a lot, so, you know, the Beast Coast effect, of course. But really well done. Really well done. Particularly Prava, I was actually really impressed with his Dawnbreaker. It's clearly something that they had like of a pocket strat, because his Dawnbreaker looked like the stuns were much more consistent than they should be. It was a really good use of the Yule Scepter from the enemy as well to set up on the stuns. So pretty happy with Infinity's performance. This is kind of the performance we've seen all season. They sometimes crumble on the 3rd game. That's one of the inconsistencies they reveal. But overall, I feel like Infinity is a team that definitely can make waves in the 2nd season of Div 1. Oh, sorry, in the 3rd season of Div
1. Yeah, agreed. And again, just to kind of show you, looking at Dawnbreaker stats, like Solar Guardian, the heal is not bad. She healed for 1,200 in total this game using Solar Guardian.
Solar.
It's not much, right? It's not much to write home about. I don't believe she ever got the Ag Scepter online, though. No, so just the Holy Locket first. You know, had this game gone longer, had the Dawnbreaker had more space and time to farm, I think we would have seen that come into effect a bit more. Eventually, Infinity really utilizing that combo nicely, just support the Storm jump in with the Dawnbreaker follow-up, which does stun, and that is some pretty incredible, you know, global mobility, some global team fight that's pretty hard to match. You know, it was like a Storm and IO combo, like they're with a Spirit Breaker. There's just like so many heroes there. Suddenly, it's hard to really react to that. Once Infinity kind of realizing that, they string it together and they take this game. I mean, they looked really clean.
Yep, there's the Infinity that we've known and loved for the games that they managed to win. This is the Pita that we know and love as well. One of the thinking minds of SA, and the strongest thinking mind, right? Not to imply that the rest don't think. Here we saw Infinity kind of outclassing Balrogs. We'll see if Game 2 is going to look better for Balrogs, but frankly, and I really do not mean this as flame, but they just don't look like a team. Like, if they seem like they're just playing individual games here together, and there's no way they're going to beat Infinity by playing like that. So let's see if they can get their head in the game for Game 2 as we go over to the panel. All right, back, guys. Windblade, the Infinity that we knew and loved, the consistency we're talking about. I think it showed up in this game again, right? Were you impressed by how they played this draft?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if that's because of Infinity or because of Balrogs. I loved how every time you were like, I don't want to flame them, but they're literally the worst team I've ever seen, and they should disband. It's like
they're not a team. They're not a team. That's what I was saying. So they're not. You know,
they can't even disband. They're not a team apparently. But yeah, I really like the way Infinity played this game. As an example, around like 11 minutes, Balrogs sent 4 heroes top. And at the same time, the DP still managed to secure the tower. And Morph was farming. And Storm was farming. So, I mean, everything just went according to plan. Really smooth performance overall. And Parker is showing why Morph is his signature hero.
Mm-hmm.